Hello and welcome to the Forum Health Coaching Department. I'm sure if you're seeing this video, you have already met with your provider and you have questions. So what I've created this video for is for you to get the answers to some of those questions and to get a really good foundation of understanding before we meet. That way, when we meet, we can personalize the program specifically for you and spend extra time just getting to know you and doing some coaching. So what I'd like to do is start off by helping you to understand the IHP programs were specifically designed as an introduction to functional medicine. So in functional medicine, we're looking for the root cause of many chronic diseases. So what I usually like to think of is an illustration of a puzzle. So if you think about a big puzzle, obviously we can't put that together overnight. It takes some time. So when you met with your provider, it's like putting the edge pieces of that puzzle together. And the more that you meet with the provider, the more you have labs done, the more you meet with your coach, more of those pieces will be able to put together. Our bodies are really amazingly made, right? When we give our body what it needs and we take away what's harming it, our bodies have an awesome ability to be able to rebalance and repair. So a lot of the time, the functional medicine providers choose to do the GDRx program as a starting point to clear the muddy waters so that they can see what else might be going on. This program is actually so effective. There was a study done of 1,700 patients, and in that study, there was a 52% reduction in symptoms and a 40% reduction in inflammation measured by HSCRP. That way, they can see after that what else might still be happening. So now what I would like to do is to go over the GDRx program with you. So keep in mind with this program, there's two goals. One is detoxification, and then the other is identifying food sensitivities. Food sensitivities can be a driver in many health conditions. And so in order to discover what food sensitivities you may have, we need to eliminate certain foods for at least 4 weeks to properly identify these food sensitivities. What I'd like to do now is to go over the GDRx workbook with you. What I'm going to do is share my screen. This is what we call the landing page. So as you see, it's forumhealth.com/GDRx. The password is GDRx welcome in all lowercase letters. I'm just going to point out a few things to you. First of all, what we use more than anything else is the workbook. There's a lot of other information here, right? There's recipes and there's just lots of supportive information that's great, but the main concentration is in the workbook. The symptom inventory check-in is something that would be awesome if you guys could all fill out prior to meeting with us. When I mentioned that study, that's what we use for the study is the symptom inventory check-in. So if you can go ahead, it's nothing like the amount of effort that it took for you to complete your initial paperwork. It's nothing like that. This is just a simple questionnaire. So I want to scroll down here and I'm going to show you 2 videos. If you have not watched these videos yet, I highly recommend that you do that. That's Dr. Saxena talking about garbage in, garbage out, heal your gut, heal your body. It's awesome if you could complete that, have those videos watched before we meet. So the other videos, I know it looks like a lot. Actually, you don't even have to worry about the other ones right now because when we find out what your start date is going to be, then we'll enter you into an email campaign. And in those emails you'll receive during the 5-week program, these videos will be integrated into them. I think we're ready to jump right into the workbook. So let's just head right there. So download the workbook and we'll start from the beginning. So if we scroll to page 3, this just gives us a little bit of insight into the toxins that we're exposed to. It is really sad. I'm sure you likely know that there's many chemicals that they use here in the United States that they've banned in other countries. So we really do need to be proactive, not only avoiding the chemicals, but also helping our bodies to be able to detoxify them. There is a website, if you're not aware of it, it is EWG.org. That stands for the Environmental Working Group. And they are excellent in putting information out there. You can find apps that you can scan, like when you store, you can scan cleaning products and skincare products. That way you can tell what's in them and how they affect your body and then therefore make informed choices. So let's keep scrolling down. This page just gives us a good idea of what some of the areas we can be exposed to toxins are. I know the first time I looked over this, what really stood out to me too was trauma. You wouldn't realize that, but mental and emotional trauma can also impact our detoxification pathways. So in coaching, we will do a lot of coaching on being able to mitigate that, to work on self-care so that we're encouraging our body to be able to balance and function the way that it needs to. So if we go down here, we're going to scroll just a little bit farther. This is just a very simple explanation of detoxification. So basically, when we take garbage into our bodies, we have to be able to detoxify, and our liver is the primary detox organ. But for the liver to be able to do its job, it needs to go through a couple different phases. And in order to do that, we need specific nutrients. That's what you're going to find in the Complete Cleanse Powder, the Duo Detox Capsules. Now there is the next step, which is elimination. So we have other organs that can play a big part in detoxification as well. So we have our kidneys, but in order for our kidneys to do the job, we need to be taking in at least half of our body weight in ounces of water a day. That's really important, specifically during the detoxification program. So encouraging that water intake. Sweating, so working up a sweat, infrared sauna. Our skin is another way that we get rid of toxins. Here's a big one, bowel movements. We really need to be having 1 to 2 bowel movements a day. If this is not happening, make sure you speak up. And this is an area that in coaching we definitely do support patients on. So now I'm going to go over some safety. There are certain people that should not do GDRx. Not many, but there are some. So some of the ones would be organ transplant recipient, active cancer treatment. Those with certain medical conditions that would require them. They're taking medications that in their absence would cause physical or mental impairment. If we think of medications that the levels have to be monitored, so that would be like seizure medication or heartbeat regulating medication would be the ones also that may not be a good idea for them. So definitely check with your provider. Another big one is birth control pills, because birth control pills are not going to be as effective, and you definitely don't want to get pregnant while you are doing the GDRx program. When you're in a detox state is not the time to get pregnant. Okay, now we're getting into my favorite part, and that is functional nutrition. So there is something that I learned in training to me that is so amazing, and that's epigenetics. So epigenetics is the study of how the phytochemicals, that's all those phytonutrients, all the different colors of the fruits and vegetables impact our genes. So actually they're so powerful that they change our genetic expression. They can turn the genes off to chronic disease. That's amazing. So the Institute for Functional Medicine is recommending 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Now, if this isn't something that you are used to, then you may need to start slow and build up, and that's okay. But when we think of that, the 9 to 11, an easy way to picture that in our minds is if we think about our plate. We think of half of that plate being our vegetables, quarter of the plate being our complex carbohydrates, the other quarter of the plate being protein. It just gives us a good baseline as to where to start. So we want to get in as much color of variety as possible. You'll notice that we do eliminate corn because we're checking for sensitivity for corn. Notice in the fruit area, we don't want you to think these are good and these are bad. That's not it. The thing is, as during the GDRx, we want to keep blood sugar balanced. So we want to make sure that people aren't eating too many of the high sugar fruit. It's best to just avoid like oranges, watermelon, dried fruit just during that 5 weeks. All the other ones should be fine. Organic berries are awesome. They are low glycemic, as well as just getting in colors of all the other fruit. So the vegetables would be great for anyone unless, of course, you have any known sensitivities. People with arthritis, it might benefit you to also do a 5-week elimination of nightshades. So nightshades would be eggplant, peppers, potatoes, not sweet potatoes, but potatoes, and tomatoes. So when we think about starches and grains, many people tend to go to more of the breads and the cereals, but especially during this program, we would love for you to stick with pretty much food that has not been processed. In the area of the starches and grains, instead of going for the processed, we would want to go for more of the real whole food. So think about doing brown rice, quinoa, sweet potato, If you don't have a nightshade sensitivity, then regular potato, plantains, free oats, millet, tapioca, just giving you an idea of some of those. It's a lot easier to identify foods that have gluten in them if you just stick with the real whole food. So gluten is the protein in wheat, barley, oats, and rye. So you can get gluten-free oats, but other than that, if we just stay away from those and stick with the whole foods, it makes it easy. Because when you look at labels, gluten is called so many different other things, and you're just not going to see just gluten on the label. There's so many names for it. So we are going to eliminate soy because we're checking for soy sensitivity. All the other beans would be great. If you have a problem with digestion of beans, try a pressure cooker or an Instapot. That makes them much easier to break down. Basically, the only nut we're eliminating is peanuts. There's a big mold issue to peanuts, and we're checking for sensitivity, so you would want to avoid those. Remember, this program is only a 5-week program. It's not forever. It's mainly checking for sensitivities. So a little education in the nut area would be, we would want those to be roasted, because when they're roasted, then they roast them in inflammatory oils. The exception would be if you would either find them dry roasted or you would roast them at home. You could definitely do that, and then you could add a little salt if you wanted to. If you buy butter, like sunflower butter or almond butter, just make sure it's nothing added other than just the nut and salt. You really don't want those inflammatory oils or sugar added to those. Okay. So here's where I like to do a little bit of education about the omega-3, omega-6 ratio. We should have a ratio of about 1-to-1, like half and half omega-3 to omega-6. We need both. The problem is the standard American diet, the ratio is 1-to-40. People are getting way more omega-6 than omega-3, and that causes inflammation. So you might wonder why. Where is this happening? Well, there's 2 big reasons. One is because of all of the processed foods. What they do is they're trying to extend the shelf life, so they use omega-6 oils. The other one is when animals are being fed the wrong things. So like cows, they should be eating grass. Chickens and turkeys, they should be eating bugs and vegetation. But when they're given grains, it increases their omega-6, and then it increases ours and leads to inflammation. So that's why quality meat is like really so important. And now we do check for food sensitivities to several things. So we are doing a 5-week elimination of beef, eggs, pork, shellfish, but don't worry, because I know that the eggs can be a big one, especially if you rely on those for breakfast. We are going to be doing plenty of shakes during that 5 weeks, so I don't know that you're going to miss the eggs too much, and we are checking for sensitivities to those. Of course, some of the other things we would want to avoid would be lunch meat, hot dogs, sausage. We avoid the swordfish and tuna just on account of mercury. Now, some of the meats that would be great for you to include during the GDRx would be wild caught fish like salmon and cod. If you've ever heard of the smash fish, smash is not a kind of fish, but it's an acronym. So it stands for salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. So those tend to be the better ones when you're looking for fish that would be lower in the mercury area. And then we have chicken and turkey. If it's organic and pasture raised is even better. If you can find those, that would be perfect. Instead of beef during the GDRx program, you could do bison, venison, lamb. So you do have a lot of options. Okay, let's talk about dairy for a little bit. So again, we're checking for food sensitivities. Some options to milk would be any of these milks. Just make sure the oat milk, you would want to make sure that it's gluten-free. Make sure that they don't have sugar added to them. And I will tell you, these are all pretty easy to make yourself, and it saves a lot of time and a lot of money actually. So check into that. Or if you need any recipes, we're happy to provide those for you. Now, instead of butter, you can use ghee. In fact, ghee is great. They use it in Ayurvedic medicine for brain detox, so it is a great alternative to butter. Cheese, we just sort of recommend. There are dairy-free cheeses out there, but if you can just stay away from those a little bit, it might be good just during this program. Okay, so let's talk about oils and fats. Of course, the inflammatory oils you would want to stay away from. Extra virgin olive oil is perfect. It's great for salads and cooked vegetables. You just really don't want to heat it too much, because when you heat it, you can create an inflammatory oil. But vary the other ones: avocado, coconut oil, and of course olives and avocados. If you do good with those, would be great. So the next category is beverages. So when we think about that, we really want to make sure that we're doing a couple things. We're staying away from sugar. We're staying away from caffeine as much as possible. So there is a coffee, for all you coffee lovers out there. There is a coffee that I know of. I'm sure there might be other brands as well, but there's Purity coffee that we really like. So Purity is a mold-free, and it is also a water process decaffeinated. So mold can be a big issue with coffee, and when we look for decaffeinated, we would want to make sure that it's water processed and not decaffeinated with chemicals. So if you absolutely can't stay away from the caffeine, maybe a little green tea, but we really would like to give your adrenals a break. So if you could, that would be great. There are also alternatives as far as like herbal teas would be great. Seltzer waters would be fine. Ask your coach if you feel like you need some more help in that area, because we have different recipes for mocktails and different things that you might enjoy in that 5-week program. All right, and we really want to give our body a break from the alcohol as well for the 5-week program. The last category is pretty much sugar. So processed sugar we would want to avoid. You can have less than a teaspoon a day of honey or maple syrup. Herbs and spices are higher, like they're great for phytochemicals, those phytonutrients we were talking about. So including herbs and spices in your cooking, little bit of salt, Celtic or Redmond's real salt would be perfect for flavoring. Really trying to give these high sugar condiments a break. Instead of soy sauce, a good alternative might be coconut aminos if you are a person that likes to do stir fries a lot. So now what we're going to talk about is you want to continue to eat your Just Add shakes. So you're going to follow the elimination diet, and then you're going to add shakes to that. So let me just explain how this is going to work. So we have our preloading stage. So typically it's 1 to 7 days. Sometimes your provider might recommend a longer preload, but during the preload, you were just doing 1 shake a day, and then you are adding 2 Duo Detox capsules, either with your shake or at night before bed. So at night before bed is where your liver is the most active. But the reason that we say we give you the option to take it with your shake is if it's too much of a hassle for you to separate that and you just want to take it with the shake, because the remainder of the program you are going to be just taking them with your shake. But if you could do before bed for the first week, that's perfect. All right, so in the shake, so we'll talk about the shake a little bit here. We can either add it with our meal, like if we have a goal of gaining a little bit of weight, we can add it to a meal, or we could make a meal out of it. We can actually make these shakes pretty delicious. They're not bad on their own, but we can make them pretty awesome by adding certain things. Some of my favorites are, there is a zucchini bread recipe one where you're just adding zucchini, a little piece of a banana, not much, but just like a third of a banana. Or better yet would be berries. But we can add so many things. We can add cucumber, we can add spinach or kale. We can add our nut butter. Let's see, the seeds that are great for omega-3 content would be our chia, flax, hemp, any of those we could add to them. So we can either do it with our meal or as a meal replacement. We recommend breakfast. That is where we recommend having that first shake. Alrighty, and then we're gonna move into the primary part of the detox. So the primary part of the detox is 20 days. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go from 1 shake a day to 2 to 3 shakes a day. Now just keep in mind, anytime you drink a shake, you're gonna be taking 2 Duo Detox with your shake. So during the primary part of the detox, some people could have a little bit of symptoms. It's everybody. It's actually not very common, but there are some people it does happen to. So we like to give you a little bit of anticipatory guidance. So what you want to do is keep in mind that you could have a little bit of mild headache, a little bit of fatigue, a little flu-like symptoms. If it's tolerable, you can maybe just back up a little bit. Maybe if you were doing 2 shakes a day, you can go back to 1 for a little bit till you start to feel better. You can make sure you're drinking the water that you need. There's something else you could do. We have binders. We have daily binder, or you could use activated charcoal. That will help to bind with the toxins so that you're not feeling that as much and help you get rid of them, get them out of your system. So we are happy to be able to support you through there. Just give us a portal message and let us know that you're looking for some support. Now, if it's where it's not tolerable, you need to stop the shakes and the supplements, and then need to contact your coach or the medical team. So then primary detox around 20 days, and then you're gonna go to Veggie Week. But Veggie Week is optional, so you can continue the primary detox throughout Veggie Week, or you can choose to do Veggie Week. I will say a lot of people do feel pretty phenomenal during Veggie Week. So basically what you're gonna do is you're going to eliminate meat, eliminate grains, and just do the vegetables. You could do a little bit of fruit and your shakes. Now you can go up to 3 to 4 shakes a day during Veggie Week. Just keep in mind that there's a maximum for the Duo Detox capsules, and that's 6. So if you would choose to do 4 shakes, just don't go to 8, just stick with 6 Duo Detox capsules. Now we will meet again before you start reintroduction, because we really want to set you up for success to identify food sensitivities. We will make sure that you completely understand how to do it and that you will evoke a reaction, so there will be no doubt in your mind what sensitivities you have. So everybody is not ready for change at the exact same points. So as coaches, we are here to be able to support you and work with you. You need to let us know. Let us know how you're feeling. Be honest with us about, like, I just can't do that. We will meet you where you're at, and we will gradually work up to getting you there. And, not everybody can start full bore, the 5-week program. It's too much, honestly, for some people. So we will definitely work with you. Just make sure to keep us in the loop of how you're feeling and any questions you have and support that you need. So that is the conclusion of the GDRx pre-information. We are looking forward to meeting with each one of you and being able to support you on your journey. And we will talk soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, Dr. Saxena here, Chief Medical Officer at Form Health. Thanks for visiting our channel. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest insights and information on functional and integrative medicine.